We are now live. What is up? What is up? YouTube live. How we doing? How we cooking? Anyway, it's your boy Tenzen, aka the most known bastard, aka Tenzen Kusanagi. One of these days, I'm really gonna introduce myself as that, and the audience is gonna be like, "All right, this nigga's a fucking weeb for real." God damn, we can't take this nigga nowhere. Fucking weirdo. But as I said on an upcoming track, how you let the weird nigga beat you? I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely feeling. Ugh, had to wipe my nose there, but yeah, I'm definitely feeling the traction coming in. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that traction coming in. Definitely seeing a lot more interactions on my post, and honestly, I've been getting interaction on the YouTube page, like my personal YouTube page. Follow that one. Um, yeah, I got some comments on my shorts. I mean, I need to get some comments on the music video, but hey, in due time, in due time. Anyway, yeah, no guest tonight. We're hoping that Patience can try again next week. He had a personal issue he had to take care of, but he did say that he will come through on the 22nd, so be on the lookout for that. So, fuck, man, just to get into it, my coworker texted me, well, DM me through IG, announcing that her boyfriend's dog is having puppies because her dog and his dog, mated. Her dog being the male is, and her dog is a Chihuahua, but and her boyfriend's dog, I think, is a Shih Tzu. So yeah, I can't wait to see what they look like. Um, Shout out to Benji and Princess. That's the two parents, the two future parents. Shout out to them. Shout out to them, man. I can't wait to see pictures of them opening their eyes for the first time. Could I do a dog again? I don't know. I mean, first off, I mean, it starts off annoying as hell. It's like, I mean, dogs are really cool to have. Don't get it twisted. I mean, but they're fucking annoying too. And it's like the fact that they shit in the house. You gotta housebreak them, of course. But it's like, you gotta go through that bullshit. And we got carpet down here, and hell to the fuck no. Like, oh man, like I can understand, like if you're a dog owner that got like hardwood floors or something, and maybe it's a little less of a pain because you just got to scoop it up and mop real good. But man, oh my god, don't let that shit be fucking runny. Oh, the amount of scrubbing you got to do, and the smell just never goes away. It's like the Febreze commercials. You just go nose blind to the shit. Like to you, it smells like a house, but to everybody else, oh, the fucking dog took over. Now, I mean, most people who own dogs, I mean, their house don't really be stinking like that. But some dog owners, oh yeah, you can tell that dog be running shit. you know, but that's the thing. I think that's what it is. It's just a whole housebreaking stage and having to take the dog out and shit. And and that's the thing. It's a whole living thing. So it's like you got your life too, but you gotta remember, damn, I got a fucking dog at the house. I gotta go take that motherfucker out. Ooh, I was a little close to the mic. Hopefully that doesn't cause no feedback or whatever. But yeah, it's just ugh. And, I don't know. Maybe if I have the heart for it, I might try to get me a little dog or something. Well, I have to run it through my grandmother. What if we got? What if we got like a small dog? Like at least if that motherfucker shits in the house, it's like okay, it's these little pellets. I could just tap it once with the newspaper. Be like, no, god damn it. But reward it when it does a poop. But but yeah, nah. Like I always personally own big dogs or like medium to big dogs. So my first ever dog, Coco, peace be upon her. I know she's dead now. We couldn't keep her up to her death. We had to give her away. She was an outside dog, which looking back, I mean, I guess that was kind of cruel. Just having a dog just tied up in the backyard, not really tending to it, except to feed it. Yeah. But I mean, she wasn't always an outside dog. She started off inside. I think what it was she was just so big and rowdy. Like, but she was just playful. That's all. Like, you just come to look at it. But yeah, Coco. She was like a chocolate. Well, we knew she had lab in her, but we didn't know we didn't know what else she was mixed with. But yeah, yeah, Coco was cool. Like I said, she was just wild, bro. Like that's all. um, the second dog we had, China. Now this pissed me off. So I was, like China was an inside dog for the most part. I mean, now my mom claimed that I wasn't taking care of her enough, which I was. Like at first, and also, dude, I was like a child. So anyway, um, so like the way I lost her was, so we took a road trip to Kentucky and we brought China with us. And I remember I was like, "Hey, where's she at?" And my mom was like, "Oh, I gave her away." I was like, "What? You just gave her away? You didn't even want to tell me first?" And, I was understandably upset, and my mom had the nerve to say, "Shut up about that dog." I was like, "Wow, okay, interesting." So the third and final dog that was considered ours, which I stopped claiming him as mine. I claimed him as my mother's. But he was the loser in the end of the story. But his name was Zeus. He was a pit bull named Zeus, a beautiful blue pit. Let's just say I did not want a dog in the first place. For some stupid ass reason, my mom wanted a dog. So she asked me multiple times, "Marcus, do you want a dog?" And I would vehemently say no. Like, absolutely not. Because, yeah, I didn't want to deal with the whole pooping in the house stuff. Yeah, like, after two dogs, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm good on that. She buys the dog anyway. And it's like, what? So I'm like, well, okay, well, it'll be her responsibility. I thought, no, I'm a minor living in the house of, I don't know how you describe a character like this, but yeah, she expected me to do everything for the dog. And I'm like, you're the reason why he's here. Well, how does that make sense? You know, so I resented her, but it was just like, oh, the dog, whatever mistake he would make would anger me more just because, holy hell, I didn't even want you. You know, like you're only here because of this person who tells you to get away from her all the time. Like what did you buy him for? Which I think she just bought him as a status symbol. Like I don't know. My mother is not a very rational woman. Okay, like you'll hear more stories. This is a very, very censored way of how I usually talk about this because it's more like more colorful language is used, but I'm gonna hold back because we're actually kind of doing well. But anywho, I'm still gonna tell the truth. But yeah, that's crazy. Like she just up and buys this big dog, right? Okay, pit bulls are pretty big, all right. And he was tall and kind of muscular too, like at his like in his prime. Um, but I don't know. It's like obviously I you can't live with a thing and not love it, But I think I well, I didn't neglect him. Like I fed him, I took him out, but I guess I neglected him like emotionally. Like, I just did not want to form a strong bond with him because I was still so hurt by my mom just getting rid of China. Well, and I forgot how to. And also, well, let's reverse real quick back to Coco. So the reason why we had to get rid of Coco was because she had like this she developed some sort of skin condition near her backside, which we had to go out and like spray, little relieving cream, but she would always just be howling and barking, like because it was very uncomfortable. And I think over time, like maybe my mom just couldn't afford to like keep treating it. So what ended up happening is we had to give her away. So I think we had to drop her off at the shelter, and she assured me it was a no-kill shelter, and that she already had somebody lined up to adopt her. A guy with a big yard, which I'm hoping that was the truth. I mean, people just be lying to kids, man. It's crazy. You know, I'm gonna tell you that later. But yeah, man, it's wild the lies we tell kids, and and I get it. You know, I'm still judging, but I get it. Because hell, I lie to kids too. It's easier. It's just easier because kids are very Socratic. Why, why, why? So I get it. So, but anyway, yeah, but it was just so surreal having to give her leash over to this dude who was clearly an inmate. I guess he was on some sort of work detail, and they let him work at a shelter. But yeah, that was the last I seen of her. She got walked away by this inmate. He was a nice guy though. I realized he was an inmate in hindsight. But I took it pretty well. Like I understood, like at the time, like I said, I was told she was already adopted by some guy with a big yard. So yeah, obviously it's like, okay, well, even I knew at the time she's going to a better place. Like not in a death way, but yeah, she can live out the rest of her life with, like yeah, like in a big yard where she can run around and tire herself out because yeah, she was a very rowdy dog. Like, friendly but just rowdy. But yeah, so okay. So anyway, fast forward back to Zeus, the dog who was forced upon me. Like that's crazy. Just really think about that. Most parents are looking for reasons to not get their kid a dog. My mom is the type of parent who will force their kid to have a dog, like you gotta have the experience. Oh, no, wait. That's not her real voice. Her real voice is this. Marcus, you gotta have the experience. So oh shit, I dead named myself. My name is Tenzen, but whatever. I gave you my real name. But yeah, imagine that being a kid who was forced a dog, like, and it was a pretty dog, but but I didn't appreciate it because I didn't want it. Which my mom wanted that dog, which I don't know. Apparently, when I went away to college, she did like spend time with him and stuff, but I mean, he was a decent dog. He was an inside dog. He got house trained. We had him on a schedule finally. In his prime, it was like, okay, you go out in the morning, make sure you poop. Go out in the evening, make sure you poop. If it's late at night, I'll take you out to pee just to be on the safe side. You come on back in. And like in the house, he mostly just slept. Like I bother him sometimes, or he'll come bother me. Like my friends came over, forget about it. He's showering them with love. And he just like, yeah, he was very demanding of their love. Now I would say the odd thing about Zeus, he was very dog aggressive. I don't know what made that happen. Because like earlier in his life, he would play with other dogs. I mean, he would be a little rough, but he would play with them. Maybe it was after he made it with Pooh, and that's the lineage to Choc, um, the recent dog. She was my grandmother's, but she was Zeus's daughter. Okay, because my grandmother had two dogs. Well, I think they were Euron's, peace be upon him. Uh, there were these two pits, Blue and Pooh. I don't know why they named the girl Pooh. That's weird. But anyway, yeah, and they were dope. Again, like my mom voluntarily kept them because apparently wherever my uncle was staying at the time was giving them parvo. So we had to take care of them, and oh, this was fucking disgusting. Like, they were throwing up everywhere. They had diarrhea. I remember one time I literally saw Pooh just straight streamy shit all over her brother Blue. And I'm like, what the fuck? And, they were both puppies. So you couldn't be mad at them necessarily, but it was just like, oh my God. And it used to be so funny because, like we would let Zeus interact with them a little bit, but I don't know, he would be kind of rough. So, like he didn't really get too much interactions with them. But it'll be so funny because in their cage, they'll get to fighting each other, like little puppies, like, and like all of a sudden Zeus would be like, roof, and they just shut the fuck up, and it'd be so funny. So, and I don't know what. Now, I don't know if they share a lineage with Zeus or not. I think there were different pit bulls. At least I hope so, because Zeus eventually gets with Pooh when she's old enough. And yeah, they made beautiful, beautiful babies. We lost one, but how was it? I think it was a litter of 9, but it ended up being 8 because one was lost. But all were successfully given away, which I thought the plan was to sell them, but nah, they ended up giving them all away. There was this one girl. There was this one female. She looked just like Zeus, only she had a little white spot on her snoot. So she was adorbs already. There was the runt, but she was the cutest because she was like, was it like I guess you could say like a very light brown color, like a beige, something like that. But she had these beautiful blue eyes. So it's just like, even though she was the runt, like I can see like a little girl just like, oh my god, dad, get that one. But and of course, like the big boy, that's what I called him. He was like this big brown dog, and yeah, you could tell he was the biggest one. Definitely always the one, definitely always the first to get that milk, man. But there is another biggin, but she was kind of chill. She just kind of laid there. She was the first to get the milk too, but that was just because she stayed kind of close to the mom. She was kind of smart. You know what I mean? She was brown. And I'm sorry. So, and that little brown chill dog was also one of the first to the teat, right? So she became like a little chill biggin too. Now, now there were lots of other ones, of course, but they all get. It was so cool watching them grow up. By the way, especially seeing the big boy. Oh my god, he was so huge. I mean, as a puppy, like compared to other puppies, like seeing their eyes open and watching them grow. Now, I don't know what their fate is today. They probably have perished as well. But anywho, the other biggin, they all most of the litter gets given away, except for one. Grandma keeps her. Well, I don't know. According to Grandma, it's Iran's idea, but Grandma definitely taking a liking to her. They name her Chocoletta because she was chocolatey, I guess. I mean, I personally wouldn't call her chocolate. I guess you'll consider her a red. I don't know. She's on my page. I'll share her. Well, she's on the Tenzen Instagram page, but I'll be sure to share her to the SOS stories if I remember. I should. But yeah, dude. But yeah, Chocoletta, that was her name. And for a while it was three dogs, Blue, Pooh, and Choc. And it was all three that lived there. They eventually had to get rid of Blue and Pooh. I believe the reason they got rid of Blue was because, he ran off one day, but he came back and he looked kind of badly beaten. And they're just like, well, shoot, all right, well, if he gonna keep getting loose, we don't want nothing worse to happen. So I don't know if they was able to find another owner for him or if they took him to the pound. And the reason why they had to get rid of Pooh was because they realized she's kind of aggressive towards children, like, um, or I think just any stranger, but I think children she doesn't like. And I think my youngest cousin was, uh, yeah, she was just born, I believe, by the time they were. Well, no, it was 2010, so she wasn't alive yet, I don't think. But still, like, you know, uh, the woman Iran, peace be upon him, was dealing with at the time, she had two kids of her own, so they were around a lot. So yeah, we couldn't have Pooh snapping at them. But yeah, Chalk was left because she was just a big chill dog, and it was just I didn't well I watched her grow up because we was always back and forth to grandma's house. Um, and Chalk was so funny, dude. Like, and I tell my friends this and my therapist, but I guess Chalk is like my redemption for Zeus because, like I said, I neglected Zeus because I didn't want to form a bond with him. And what? What if she just notices that I love this dog and she gets rid of him again? It's yeah. I was very traumatized by that China thing. The fact that like, hold on, man, I can't trust you to like at least let me know, like you'll just get rid of my homie. Like yeah, like China, she was kind of annoying, but I still love that dog, you know what I mean? But nah, man, Chalk was, peace be upon her, she was my little girl. Like yeah, like she was just such a big fat girl at the time. Like once she got spayed, like that's when the weight gain happened, and like it was just so funny because I would you would go to pet her, anybody, she just loved everyone. You would go to pet her and like her big self, she'd be like, it's like a tree falling. She's like, shh. And, she wants you to rub her stomach, and that's what we all do. We just rub her stomach. And the thing was, like, when she was in her prime, like, if you was to ever make the mistake of dropping down to her level, she would think that it's playtime. And that chill dog will get the zoomies, do this little motion, and then just be like, just going crazy on you, like like she's just, she ain't hurting you, she's just roughhousing with you. You're like, whoa, whoa, hey, easy there. Like, yeah, you're fat, but you're still like kind of big, and you can definitely move for a big fat girl. You know, um, I remember there was day I had to take her to the vet. Um, ooh, she hated the vet. And let me tell you something. When you take Choc to the vet, she knows that's where she's going, and this is her plan from start to finish. She'll just dead weight herself. She'll be like it just in my car. Like every time I put her in the car, she's never in the seat. She always wants to be on the floor. This is her choice. I literally try to guide her onto the seat. I'm just like, well, shit. There's no use for me to even put the little seat cover up because she's just gonna be on the floor anyway. 'Cause that's what she does. Good old Chocolate, Choc, as I called her. Peace be upon her. But yeah, you pull up. We pull up to the vet is always a hassle. Like, and, I'm usually taking her to the vet by myself, or Yaron, peace be upon him. He's usually taking her to the vet by herself, and it's a hassle. Like usually, we hope there's like usually nurses and stuff have to come out and kind of help sometimes if she's really being stubborn. There was one day, bro, she was not. She really just wasn't going for it. Like we got her out the car, but that was it. She was just like, what? like, like y'all gonna have to carry me. Like she knew she was big. That motherfucker. Like that's the thing about Chalk. Like it's like she knew she was a big girl. So it was like, but I remember she was just so stubborn, not wanting to go into the vet that the doctor literally had to come and bring the stuff out, the syringe and all that, and just give her shot outside. Man, Choc was not fucking with that vet, folks. But but nah, man, yeah, she was just so good. Like, like for a while she was sort of like a garage dog in a sense. Like, like basically she would like, like at the end of the day, like she'd be outside most of the time, but then at the end of the day, she'll be in her crate in the garage. And, like obviously we'll know to let her out when she starts barking. But eventually she became an inside dog, which that took her adjusting because for a while she will just lay next to the door because she was like, "What is this? What is this change? I don't like it." But eventually she got used to this change. We could never get her to go upstairs, but eventually she got comfortable enough, to to walk in the den, the area, outside the den, and up the hallway. She never went into any individual room. Well, she might have went into my room sometimes, but I usually told her to get out of it because I ain't want her messing with nothing. But yeah, she would just sleep all over the place. Now, one of the most annoying things she would do, um, she would rip her beds to shreds, and I would scold her about it, which I would feel silly, of course, because clearly she don't know no English. I know all she heard was blah 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 Choc, blah 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 Choc, you know. But yeah, it's like, bro, like, what are you doing? Do you not want to be comfortable? Like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you doing that? Like, it's just crazy to me because like, we'll get her a new bed. It'll be like one of those like expensive beds too. Then eventually, I'm like, stop it now. Like, it's like, but of course, she just rips the stuffing out of it. Maybe that's what it is. Like, so I mean, I think we eventually started like there were beds that like didn't really have stuffing like that, so it was less messy if she was to start fucking with it. Or I think we actually found like a chew resistant kind of bed, like, or at least the way it was built, it was like, okay, like if she was a chew at it, like, wasn't necessarily, stuffing. But eventually she chilled out on the bed eating and actually realized, okay, wait a minute. I will sleep more comfortable because for a minute, you know, yeah, she had to sleep on the fucking carpet and I know she hated it. I mean, Now, a little later on in her life, we had to crate her at night because, she got a little older. She couldn't really control her bladder. Um, but nah, that dog, we saw her to old age. Yeah. And it was weird, like seeing the grace in her face. I was like, man, I remember you before your eyes even opened. And now look at you. You're about to leave. Hmm. So actually, we got to rewind because the way Zeus was lost, apparently he was diagnosed with some sort of brain cancer. And I don't know. For some strange reason, I don't know. I was blaming myself because back in Conyers, that's where we used to live. When I took him out, it was like this wooded area that I would just take him to do his business. Ain't no telling what was in those floors. I'm like, man, ain't no telling what. There's a whole bunch of dead stuff. I remember he'd always eat, you know, dead deer or whatever if it ended up there, or at least dead deer remains. I'm like, stop it, get that out of your mouth. But or just like roadkill remains, like anything. Like this could be gross sometimes. So I'm thinking like, oh my god, was it something I probably exposed him to? But it's like, no, it's just cancer. Cancer just happens sometimes. So yeah, it was just some sort of brain cancer, and apparently I didn't see like. Well, they said there was a day where like he just started having like these, like he would get dizzy. Like I guess that was the result of what that brain cancer was kind of doing to him. Like he kind of be, I guess, have like what's it called, vertigo or something. Like he couldn't really, like they said, like I guess my mom had to take him down to Athens to UGA. I guess that was like a really good, I guess a good vet down there. But they say, yeah, when she was getting him in the car, he was kind of like falling over and stuff, and yeah, so my mom was actually getting emotional about it, which I understand. It's like you see like this once like strong boy, like just turn into like, whoa, what's going on? Like, yeah, it's like and I guess my mom loved him too. I guess. I guess now, like, I don't know, I'm trying not to be too mean about that. But anywho, yeah, so I guess, she took him down to UGA. I think they did something to maybe like kind of what's the word? Uh I guess just treat the vertigo, like treat the cancer. But, my mom couldn't afford to actually do any like intensive surgeries. Either the either the price tag was too high or it was too advanced, one or the other. So, but one of the nicest things my mom did for him was, ain't no telling how much it cost, but it was really nice. She ordered, I guess, a mobile euthanizer. It was like this white lady. She came, you know, at first my mom, like, to me, it felt kind of fake at the time. But like I said, when I went away to college, I don't know what him and my mom did. So, but I don't know anyway. But yeah, like my mom, we was at my grandmother's house. She was in the backyard. Um, him, her and Zeus were in the backyard. She was just feeding him, pepperoni sticks, milk bones, just petting them, showing them love, and he was just a very happy boy. Uh, then yeah, the white mobile euthanizer lady. I don't know why I'm saying her race, but she was a nice old, not old, like I mean, kind of up there, but not necessarily old. But yeah, but she was like this nice white lady who came to kill the dog, basically. but it was she was just so nice about it. It was very humane. It was like I guess like whatever that service was, like they're also very good at like counseling. Because my mom, she felt bad. Yeah, she felt bad. She felt like like darn. And the lady was like, nah, this you're doing the best thing you can do for them. You're ending the pain. And she let us know that. She first, well, she let my mom get down and pet on him and stuff. But she first gave him the sedative. My grandma was at the scene as well. She gave him the sedative so he can, you know, go to she explained everything too while she was doing it. It's so weird. It's like it was so nice and wholesome and a little somber, of course, but it's very nice and heartfelt. But yeah, you're killing the dog. But yeah, but throughout the time she was just calmly explaining it like, oh yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I'm giving him a nice sedative, so that way he'll go and have a nice deep sleep, and the last thing he'll see is you petting on him, and that way he won't feel what you know what's it called, uh what what's that other fancy word for deadly, uh it's on the tip of my brain. Fatal, yeah. That way he won't feel the fatal dose, the effects of the fatal dose. Okay, I am now administering the fatal dose. It's okay. Like, she administers the fatal dose very, very respectfully, cleans the syringe, and then goes back to consoling my mother. I'm consoling my grandmother because, she just, yeah, she's like, oh, is he dead? Just, I think my grandmother is more so cried out of, sympathy, just seeing a living thing go is hard, especially like right in front of your eyes. And yeah, it was tough because, you realize, darn, I really did love Zeus, but it's like I said, I guess I just didn't want to get too attached. And who knows? Who knows how different my outlook would have been if I was actually attached to Zeus. You know what I'm saying? It didn't see him as like a chore. You know what I mean? But I closed his eyes, which they kind of opened back up a little bit. But but yeah, like once he was finally pronounced dead, she wrapped him up. You know, got his paw print. We let Choc sniff around that spot. You know, where her father passed. Well, actually, she did that on her own. Like I noticed that. Like when I would let her out in the backyard, she would sniff around that spot sometimes. Just really be sniffing around there. It was like, okay, yeah, I think she probably knows her dad died there. They weren't close because, yeah, for some reason her dad was very dog aggressive. So Zeus, peace be upon him, would sometimes try to hurt Choc, peace be upon her. And I'm just like, you do know that's your daughter, right? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? But that's okay. Dogs are dogs. Um, but yeah, so Zeus was humanely put down. Just like how Choc was. Only, like I said, Choc was just old. Eventually got to a point where she wasn't eating at all. Like, her appetite just wasn't there. So she was looking more and more emaciated. She would drink hella water, but eventually sometimes she stopped doing that. Um, it's so funny, even though I'm an atheist, right? I remember one day I asked my buddy Prasha, I was like, hey, You can pray for Choc, And she was like, sure, whatever, yeah, of course. And I don't know. Maybe it's just because I want to believe it. Like I know it's bullshit, but I just want to believe that. I just want to make that correlation. Like Choc was kind of giddy for like 3 months. So I don't know. Like maybe it was precious love energy or something. But yeah, like for 3 good months, he was kind of like a normal dog. Um, Eating, being her usual self, her usual lovable self. But then after those 3 months, yeah, it deteriorated again. And it was bad. It got real bad. Like she kept, you know, she had really no control of her bladder, and I had to come home, you know, and and that's what really hurts me. Like the last day I saw Chalk, something was telling me, Tenzen, go pet her, Tenzen. I didn't. I went on to work. I was like, I'll see you later. In fact, I did not see her later. I come home and my, I give grandma the mail with as much strength as she can muster. She tells me, Chalk is dead. She took her to the vet that day. Euron, peace be upon him, was supposed to be with my grandmother, but I guess he had other plans. Um, Jeez, I'm sweating, by the way. But oh my god, I'm so sad the way she described it. She said, she said when Chalk got across the threshold, she tripped and fell, and you know, she made no effort of getting up. So yeah, the people at the vet, they just knew. So they picked her up, they put her on a little stretcher thing for dogs, and wheeled her back to the room. And they humanely put her down. I hate that my grandmother had to be alone for that, but I appreciate the fact that Chalk wasn't alone, and that she got to be with the woman who loved her the most on her last moments. Hmm. Jeez. Now I'm those weirdos who record themselves crying, but I didn't think I was going to. I didn't expect the whole episode to be like family dog lore. Um, but yeah, man, shout out to Choc, shout out to Zeus, shout out to Coco, shout out to China. Peace be upon you all. You are all special to me in your own ways. Thank you all for existing. And I guess I'll end it at that. Yeah. So to any you know, to any pet owners out there, you know, cherish your pets. All right. All right, everyone. Like I said, I was sweating. Okay. I was sweating. I don't do that